That Lincoln is a CCCA full classic. Little car collection that's auctioning today. Chevy long bed, 4-wheel drive truck, single cab. Not a very usable configuration to me. Be a good first vehicle for a high schooler. Here's a 1940 Chevrolet Coupe. This was an old barn find car. This one has the accessory front grille guard. That's a neat car. My dad had a 40. Several of these Feld dealerships around. I think there was Kansas City, St. Louis. Every so often, this far out in our area, you do see a Feld dealer badge. Obviously, in those bigger cities, there were massive volume sellers, so those cars got spread around. Somebody's replaced that window with plate glass. Pretty dangerous. The piece would definitely need to come out of there. This is business coupe. No back seat. Just a platform where you could put your cartons and packages. So that's kind of cool. .216, the old Babbitt motor. This thing, somebody's added a oil filter to it. It turns nice and free. I'll bet with some tinkering, that old thing could see new life. Even if it knocked or it was in bad shape, swap a 235 in there. Look here at the trunk. A lot of times these old trunks rust out. That one's in pretty good shape. That's a good survivor car.
I'm gonna sell this pickup too.
Been watching the Cold War Motors 37 Chevrolet revival. Been really fun seeing that old 216 come back to life in that car. We've got a 29 Model A Coupe. A lot of these older Restoration A's coming to market. A lot of older Restoration T's coming to market. So if a guy's looking, he can get a hold of a pretty decent one. Don, of course, had a printing business here in Salina. Super cool personalized plate. The old Auga horns. Now this thing, pretty well done car. Pretty well done. That's got a fabric top. It's just vinyl. So a lot of these that were stored in the 60s or 70s, they just used that naga hide. So a car like this, not restored all the way to factory standards, but still good looking old car that's just a survivor you could use. Probably been sitting unstarted for a while. You'd want to check out stuff like the water pump, but this exhaust still is warm, so they drove it here. See the old sticker there. Pretty amazing to think a car like this has been collectible for over half a century, and cars that were built after that time are now collectible. I'm sure in the 70s and 80s they didn't think they'd see 80s cars being collectible, but here we are. And I think that's kind of affecting the market for these older ones. You have 10 decades of collectible cars now. People only have so much garage space for so many, and they want later, faster stuff. It's a little more highway friendly, so the market on these old cars kind of soft at this time. So if a guy's looking, he can get some pretty good examples. I'm looking for a T and hopefully find something. The old 65 Mustang. This one's a 200 inline 6. That's got 65 core support. And we've got the later style butterfly jack mount. So this is not a 64.5. It's kind of neat. This has always been a local car. Long MacArthur's still in business. Very good original Survivor automatic transmission. So your date.
Manifold seems to be a little noisy. But I've got a manifold laying in there. I don't know if it's got a crack or if it's just that. If there's that little exhaust thing on them that it doesn't look cracked.
You had this running already, yeah.
Oh yeah, I drove both of them over.
That was a good one.
Oh, and it runs
Mustang
good.
convertible.
The only thing that needs is this is the one that Bowser stuff. And I
Look at that thing.
Oh, really?
heat on the valves.
Both of them are 200s?
Yeah, they're both good.
Yeah.
This one's blown. This was the first Mustang sold in Slant.
Oh, really?
Repainted.
Mustang ever sold in Slant. And it belonged, before the Hellers, it belonged to Dick Bergen.
Oh, really?
So that's a 65.
Yeah, this is the ride. I did put a new master cylinder and front brakes on it. It does not have a brake light switch on it. That's, I can tell you right now, that's probably the only thing, is all the lights.
3-speed manual in this one.
Probably got no brake lights. It's all got all brand new.
Aftermarket AC.
Well, the brake light switch on this is on the pedal underneath.
Yeah, and there's not one on there. I like this.
Look at this thing. Lincoln Continental. Now there's a legit collector car. This could be the first CCCA full classic we've ever shown on the channel.
201 of these cars made. It's a Cabriolet, which there's only 201 of them made.
All the leather. Wow, 3-speed manual. What a beautiful car. Should be V12 in there. It's really neat to see one of these cars in person. Super cool car.
Yes, you'll still be able to bid right online.
This is the type of car that you bought if you were somebody.
Yes, Mr. Rowley will have this all running.
60s jack in the back.
He listens to me, then he repeats.
Cool little push button door handles. This is the type of car you could just park in your garage and look at. Never get tired of it. The old Ford pickup. I think it's a 40. Parked in 63. This thing makes you think of Mayberry. Imagine something like this pull up to Goober's service station. Coolest part of this truck is it's a factory 4-cylinder. Very rare. Obviously this one was Model A derivative, and you can look at that and see some things carried over and then some things were updated as they went along. Kind of similar to that 4-cylinder Nova that I've got. Just a rare drivetrain. Really hope this truck goes to somebody that understands the appeal of that stock 4-cylinder and preserve this thing just like it is.
Hey, this is the 29 that runs like a champ, Model A. I guarantee you that you could drive this home if you wanted to. It'd make it. It needs antifreeze. I just dumped water in it when I filled it up, so it's going to need antifreeze. Okay?
Got the new style radiator.
It runs like a champ. This one is a 1965. Nothing wrong with it. It's probably used exhaust manifold. I don't know. It's got a little bit more of an exhaust leak. And it needs a valve cover gasket, and it needs antifreeze. I'm going to stress that every time. I just dump water. I got it running. Had 2 valves stuck in it, number 3 and number 4. And I just dumped some power steering fluid on top of it. So it needs an oil change too. The brakes have never been screwed with. This is the most original Mustang that I've ever saw for 1965.
Yeah.
This car was the first Mustang sold in Salina, Kansas. And Dick Bergen, which did the Ad Astra on top of the state capitol, this was his car.
Ooh.
Gotcha. Good morning.
So the engine runs, it just needs a little movement.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell the girls inside you said that.
Yeah, just, and you can leave me, if you want to leave a bid.
I'll leave them with Marty.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
that's good.
Thank you.
This is a 1965 convertible. It's had all new quarter panels on it. This car was painted 35 years ago with the good paint. It has an air conditioning in it, but it's got the old R12. I didn't screw with it. I couldn't tell you if it works or not. It's easy to switch them over to R34. If you want a Joyrider, it's convertible. I didn't take the top down. I don't think we will today, but it's supposed to work good. It starts and runs, and they drove this all over town. It was a pride and joy. It hasn't ran since 1976. It was in the shed the whole time. One of the girls got married and was driving up and down the streets of Salina with it, and that's probably the last time it got driven. Well, over the years, the engine's stuck. I have gotten it to move. You can see right there on the marks, about a ½ inch. But we've tried everything, and the engine is full of solvent. So if you go to load it up, it's going to squirt a little solvent out on the ground. I've put every kind of monkey crap you can stay in the engine, and it's probably, as soon as somebody gets it bought, they're going to probably charge it for you.
Yeah, probably if you pulled it 30 miles an hour in third gear and let the clutch out, it might break.
Might break something.
If they don't know how to unlock the steering wheel, you have to put the key in and turn it and pull it out. It's pretty interesting. Everything about this car, it's got electric windows, and I think they're air operated because I couldn't get them up.
Hydraulic, yeah.
Whatever's wrong with it, I can't get it to work because the engine ain't running.
This thing's got a locking steering column.
On this pickup,
Man.
this was the last of the Ford pickups built. It probably was built in 42, but it's a 41, and they run out of parts because of the war. So they put a tractor engine in it. So it's got a 9N4 engine in it. So it's a 4-cylinder. It does run. We had it running Thursday. I pulled the battery out of it to put it back in that car to try to get the windows up. And I decided not to put it back in and fire this up because I'm afraid somebody's going to drive it home. And it has no brakes. It's the most dangerous thing on the street. We pulled it down here, and all I could do was pop the clutch to slow down. We just broke it. I mean, Kenny's auto body. He had it up there in his shed, in his garage. This car, this pickup also has been inside since 1976. That's the reason its patina is still really good shape. It was indoors. He bought it in Gove County, and it was out in a hedgerow. And he bought it in Gove County, and he just never ever got to doing any work to it. But it's a pretty cool pickup. Oh, I got it running day before yesterday, yeah. Yeah, I had it running. And if you want the original tires, Kenny's got them over Kenny's other body. The original wheels are over there. And I got some parts that I need to throw in the back of you. Did you guys get those 4 parts?
Few parts. Most of these are extras and spares from the Mustang restoration. Brand new radiator for the 40 Chevrolet. Some of these neat old parts boxes are cool just for display. Tons of these AC speedometer gauge parts. Lots of old parts for old cars. Got the Corvette Stingray trophy. Trophy's heavier than it looks. There's a name I've never heard of. It's a 24 millimeter, 30 millimeter combination wrench. I think they had worked on a Volkswagen at one time. This was Mr. Heller's print shop. The old letterpress machines with the linotype.
I'm just looking so I know what to tell people.
That one's set up for printing envelopes.
You gotta be able to tell them something.
Right.
And Mac needs to know something to write down.
I like as descriptive as I can.
I went to see my mom and she was in long-term care.
This is a big paper cutter.
But anyway,
This
she
is a nice
just,
little piece here.
she just continued to eat, even though she was just gaining weight.
There was one on. There
A lot of history in here.
Whatever I could do to help her, you know, you just gotta be with it. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. Seeing as a royal, yeah. You just have to be. Get it, you know. But he just, you know, and I think, you know, I also think that the fact that he's gained weight later in his life is heredity too. Because when I first met his mother.
Hey, Mac, just so that you know.
There's the old trays of the linotype.
School specialty would take about, and then school specialty bought their own press after a while, towards the very end. By the time they were done making those things all the time. But yeah, that was bread and butter on those things. You know, all of that. All the pads, I mean, it wasn't fancy printing, but I mean, you know, like restaurants, waiters have those pads. Receipt pads. That's what the money was. I mean, that's what you can count on, you know, somebody can say, oh, a fancy circus poster, you know, or something like that, we all do that. 30 or 40 of them once a year, that would make you money. Money is no pads.
Oh, there used to be a printing press on Heidelberg that was as big as that blue table, that right there, yeah. He sold that, yeah.
Business is closed. The old phones will never ring here again.
Well, you know, I remember when you about couldn't afford to buy one of those kind of things.
A lot of Salina history in this place.
$45 your way. 1, 10, 10, 10. I got money at 100 now. 10, 10, 10. Better be 1, 10, 10, 10. Better be 1, 10. 1, 10, 10, 10. Out in that cool cabinet in that time. Of course, money. 10, 10, 10. Better be 10. Better be 10, 10, 10. 1, 10, 1, 10. We're gonna go, guys. 1, 10. Sold it to you, sir. $100. That is number 6. Number 6.
Okay.
The antique sign.
Hey, that's cool. What'd it say?
The Volo oil or something.
He wasn't supposed to pick it up. He was just supposed to leave it there and take my $5 bid.
Haven't seen one like that before.
Okay, right here on the old sign. What do you want to give here? 25. 25, 5, 5. You ever seen that? 55, 5, 5, 60. 60, 60, 60. Better be 60, better be 60, better be 60. Sold it out. Number 11. Number 11. $55. Number 11.
Okay, go ahead and sell this big press.
The original.
Original Heidelberg Got a lot of extra parts and the manuals and
Just to
stuff.
tell you, these rollers did not go with the machine. They went with a different machine, but that got sold a couple years ago.
Okay.
So anyway, they just, so
We
don't
do
look for a
have a
place
box
for
of
them.
tools specifically for this machine.
Right
We're
here.
gonna sell separately.
You're gonna sell them separately?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's where
The
the
Heidelberg tools will go separately. Right here. On the Heidelberg. On the Heidelberg. 50, 55, 65, 65, 55, 65. I got him at 60. Sold it. Number 5. Number 5. Number 5.
Can you hear me okay? All right. So, just remember, when I say sold, if you're the buyer, there's a 2.5% buyer's premium. Please wait till I get in the office, because I'm going to settle with you on these 6 cars. After we get done with these 6 cars, we are going to sell that 2005 Chevrolet 4x4 that just came. I mean, it belongs to Hellers. This morning they decided to sell it, and then we'll sell that that big semi-trailer. And what's out front is that semi-trailer, and then Tom's going to go back into A-Market and take off where he left. We'll sell the duals last, and like I said, if you haven't got something to eat, go see Joyce. The key for this car is still in the ignition. If you want to hear it run, just give it a push down the road, buddy. The engine is free, and you can tell what happened. The raccoons got in there, and they just loved their time. It was in about 4 inches of dirt. The tires were completely gone. I put some scabs on it from Bankston Tire down here, and the right rear one still don't hold there very long. But it's up right now. And
I don't know, $5 grand market.
That'd be your best bet.
That's what I told my guy for it.
8 and 8 and 900, now 1,000, and a 1,000, now 1,100, 1,100, 2,200, 23, 23, 23, 23. Y'all done, Tammy? 2,300, 22, 2,300, 2,300, 2,300. Anybody? $2,300. We got a live bid out here. $2,300 for it. I sold it. $2,200. Number 3 is the buyer. I'm going to start this truck up. Excuse me, this old Model A.
You will get a bill of sale. You get a bill of sale. You get the
Probably
paperwork
15.
from the lawyer. The estate paperwork.
It's an old restoration, like the top Snogahide.
I reported that in '69.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't know if they had that crack grain top repro'd yet in '69. Wow. I mean, it's holding up really nice.
It runs good.
Yeah, yeah. A 3031 would be worth about 20. Black's worth a little more. The T market's kind of soft right now. The 28-29 market's kind of soft. 3031's kind of the better year for an A if you're selling it.
What about that Lincoln over there? What's it worth?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. That Lincoln is a CCCA full classic. You know, it's they would have shown that with Duesenbergs and Pierce Arrows and stuff. That's an exhaust whistle? Wow. I got 2 of them exhaust whistles at the shop.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I don't know what condition they're in, but
Ain't much going wrong with them.
ain't much to go wrong, yeah. You're fine.
I guess we're ready.
All right, on the 29 Model A right there. What do you get $10,000 for? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5. 5, 85, 8,600. $8,600, what do you? Have the rumble seat and everything. 86, 85, 50, 8,600, 8,600. He started this, 8,600, 85, 50, 86, 8650, 8650, 8,700, 87, 87, 87, 87, 87, 87, 87, 8,700, 8650 to $8,700 for it. 8650 to 87. 87, 87, 87,
Come on,
87, 87. Sold it, $8,650.
31.
Number 31. Well, you can put it back away now. Thank you, Kenny. Let's see, I gotta give you the key. Now you work on these cars for a while and you kind of fall in love with it.
About as emotional as I
Too bad they're not as easy to work on now as they were in them days.
Well, I wouldn't say they're easy to work on.
Well,
It's just I know how a little bit.
okay. At least you can see what you got. Don't have to take half the car apart to get to what you're trying to work on.
Okay, I'll tell you right up front. This 65 Mustang needs a valve cover gasket. It needs the exhaust manifold's cracked on the back. I do have one for sale that will be selling on the car parts. And let's see, what else does it need? I don't think the blinkers all work just quite right. But I'm just trying to be honest. This is as original as it gets. This car belonged to Dick Bergen at one time. You know, the guy that made it. And it's also the first Mustang sold by Long MacArthur in Salina, Kansas. The interior is all original. The exterior, of course, you can tell it's original. I did throw a spare tire and a jack in the trunk. The only reason the steering wheel ain't on there's a spring that holds that horn, but the horn does work, but it'll work all the time. So I can't find the spring. So if you happen to go hunting for that, it's not in the car. The brakes seem pretty good on it, but they're original. We haven't done anything. Kenny, you didn't do anything to them, did you? I didn't do anything to them. And other than that, we found enough hubcaps to put on it. You can see we got a lot of hubcaps today. Oh, it did. It has all 4 wheel cylinders put in. That's good. Okay, it does need antifreeze. All these vehicles need antifreeze. I take even that Model A. I did it the cheap way. I just dumped some water in. It ain't October yet. The red October's coming. Okay, so on this Mustang, we have $5,000. What do you get? $5,500. $5,500. What are 55, 55, 55, 7,250. What do you get? $7,500. $7,500. Y'all done? $7,500. $7,500. $7,500. So it's $7,250 to Mr. Darren Wilson.
Outside in Virginia, and they need
Right. He's my best friend. Years ago. 33. Yeah, me and Darren go back in the National Guard about 40 years ago. Okay, so this is a convertible. It is
high performance 6-cylinder.
so it's a sprint. Redone. Kenny redone it. Put all new floor panels on it. Engine runs great. Interior's nice. It does have an air conditioner, but it had R12. I have not tried it out. New top on it. But I guess this top could be 30, 35 years old. Kenny said he did this a long time ago. Anyway, it has new wheel cylinders all the way around. brake lights don't work as a brake light switch is not where it's supposed to be. This is a 1965 black convertible.
This one's got new wheel cylinders, master cylinders.
New wheel cylinders, new master cylinders in it.
And we drove it in the lead sled show.
And it was in the lead sled show here just a couple weeks ago. That's all. All right. And anyway, what a beautiful car. Hit $5,000 bid, now $6,000, $7,000, $11,250, $11,250, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,250, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,250, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500, $11,500,
Found the battery man the other day.
$11,500. Sold it. $11,250. Thank you, Gary. Number 9. Number 9's the buyer. There you go. Here's the keys, buddy.
Bring a trailer, yeah.
15-ish.
This has been a car that's had a lot of people working on it, trying to get that engine unfroze. Penny worked on it, Brian worked on it, I worked on it, Penny worked on it, Brian worked on it, I worked on it. Several people, I think even we had several people come in from outside trying to tell us all kinds of things. And we got it to move about that far, about a half inch. I put all the spark plugs back in it and air cleaner on it. It's all one piece. The neat thing about this car, if you haven't ever opened the door, just opens up for you automatically. You swing your butt in there and bring, well, there you go. This is a cabriolet. It's only one of 201 that were ever made that year in 1946. It's the first cars made after World War II was over. That was Lincoln Continental is the first car they made. One of the first cars they made after World War II. I don't think the tires are original, the wheels, excuse me, but I don't care. They look really nice on there.
It's all original and it has 11 coats of baked enamel paint.
11 coats of baked enamel paint on it, and like I say, theirs it is. It's easy to figure it out. There's a little bit of cracking on the front seat, or the stitching coming loose. Really nice looking interior though for 1946. Now I realize it doesn't run, but I don't know what it's going to take to get it to go. But I can tell you right now, it did move some. On the way down here, I popped the clutch and we opened up the hood and it moved. Lucky thing it didn't throw me through the front of the windshield, but it did. Anyway, to get it to go, you have to turn this key in there. I believe it's still that, and then let it pull it out. Otherwise, the steering wheel locks and everything. I can't roll up the windows because they're hydraulic, and the engine really needs to be running to do that. So we had it inside all day yesterday because we had a little rain there, which is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Jesus. But anyway. Well, all that said, hit $5,000 for it. Hit $5,000 for it. Get $5,000, $5,000, $6,000, $6,000, that's $7,000, $8,000, $12,250, not $12,500. Hit $12,500, $12,500, $12,750, $12,750, $12,500, $12,750, $12,750. What's up? $12,750 twice. I have sold it, $12,500. Here's the keys, sir. Good luck.
You got fireworks.
They do that every day.
Okay, the thing everybody's been
They just don't time it for the sale of a rare collector car.
Every day.
Day before yesterday, in Kenny shop, I put that 7-gallon fuel tank, which is in the back, hooked it up to the engine, it wrapped it down to the carburetor, and we fired it up. It ran. I'm not going to try to start it again. We tried to start it the second time, and we weren't having a whole lot of luck. Now, I will tell you that it didn't smoke. It ran pretty doggone good. For a little bit of time it ran. And so I don't think we're going to do much except, I tell you what, if I want to take that one, I can run the hell out of it. Anyway, we took all the crap out of the seat, the big springs, and, you know, the first rail front, Kenny's got the wheel stop. If you get this spot, go over and get the regular size of the spare tire.
I think they brought him over. I think they brought them over. I think they're
Fixed and
behind the
tired.
fence.
And boy, the patina on this is beautiful. In fact, this slate blue, I believe, is the color of my son's brand new Honda Odyssey. And that motor sounds good in it. That motor does sound really good. It does not have any brakes. That was the other reason for not putting battery in it. Starting it up. I'm pretty sure I might drive it home. And I don't want you to do that. I've had a hard enough time getting me over here after I used the third gear first. I think it's going fast. Anyway, there you go. I got $5,000 bid ready. Now $6,000. What do you get? $7,000. Now $8,000. $8,000. I got that $7,000. Now $8,000. $8,100. I have sold it for $8,000 right here at number 48.
He didn't get any fireworks with this one.
Like I say, everybody, $7,750, $7,750 with you, $7,750, $7,750. What a deal here! 50,000 mile pickup. Now 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. 75, 7750, $7,750. If you're done, I am done, and I am done, and I have sold it $7,500 to number 31.
This was a really fun auction. It was neat to see a collection of cars, especially that Lincoln Continental. I'd never gotten to see one up close and look at it, so it was really a treat to be able to see a vehicle like that. Also neat to see a printing shop. I think in all my years of doing these auctions, that was the first printing shop that I've ever run across, and it was neat to see the equipment. It was neat to hear the stories of the daughters that grew up with their dad working there. And it's kind of neat to see the old Heidelberg machine actually got bought by another printing shop there in town. A lot of the others, like some of the cutters and the hole punchers, those I think sold for scrap just because honestly they're kind of dinosaurs and there's not a whole lot you could do with them. But the story the guy that bid for the Heidelberg gave was that other print shop in town actually has a Heidelberg that they're using, and they said this one was in a little better shape, so they'll be able to have it as a backup and be able to keep this old way of printing alive, which is pretty neat to see. I know the core of this channel is cars and car parts, but a lot of the guys here watching, I'm sure, appreciate technology of all kinds, and so I was glad to be able to have the opportunity to show that to you folks. The vehicles that sold, I thought they all sold for about 75% of retail, so if anybody was looking, they were all under market, and so anybody that bought a car there, I think bought pretty smart. Nobody got overvalued on any of them. And if they ever fixed them up a little and wanted to sell them, I don't think anybody there was going to get hurt. But for me, I just didn't see anything that said, hey, I'm way undervalue and scream take me home. So I decided not to buy any vehicles and got a lot going on right now. I've got some building and grounds maintenance that needs to be done, and don't really have adequate indoor space to keep one of those cars at the moment. So the prudent and responsible adult thing to do was save my money for building materials for some of these next jobs, which you all know at this point in time, none of that stuff's cheap. So I spent a few $100 and got some pretty good pieces. I believe the 67 Mustang fender is new old stock Fomoco part, and somebody's edged it in blue, but they never put it on the car. And the guys that know on this repro stuff versus the original, they can look at it and see the way the spot welds are made and just the way the overall construction is and tell if it's an original or not. This one, the clues that it gives me anyway are the thickness of the metal, and right here on the edge there's this little, that's actually the shift code. So that has to do with when the panel was made, and not a part number or anything like that. The shift code was just something that they did in case there were any problems. They could identify when the last pieces were made that were right, and anything that wasn't right they would just scrap. The other NOS fender, I believe, is a Mustang 2, be like 74 through 78. Couple Falcon hubcaps, little 3-jaw puller, Model A headlight. There's some new old stock 30s parts in there. Couple little oil cans, oil bottle. I've got a rack that I think has most of the bottles, so that'll at least get one closer to getting it filled up. Little 70s era Valvoline grease can. This oil squirt bottle, oil can, oiler. It was German, so this was kind of a specialty piece that they used for oiling the moving parts of the printing presses. So just a really neat specialty can there. This is an old Hastings piston rings service tool of some kind. I'm not sure. I'm guessing compression checker, but I'm not certain on that. Another 3-jaw puller, some Model A and Model T era Ford wrenches. I'm looking forward to the day when I get a hold of a T, and so those will be something that I'll put back just to have display with the car whenever that day comes. Small block Chevy points distributor. I did get a real nice pallet racking shelf. That'll be a good piece for storage. I think I scored that for like 15 bucks. So what I paid for all of what's here is probably what that pallet racking would have retailed for new. So that's kind of the neat part of going to these auctions. Just being able to score some deals when you're in a building there and nobody's looking and you're the guy paying attention, you can get a deal. I bought the little electric clock off the wall. Neat old 60s era piece. Found this Franklin Mint, Lincoln Continental Cabriole. A couple of these old plastic colored phones. Volkswagen taillights. They'll be good eBay pieces. Some old hubcaps. That International Triple Diamond, I think, is a late 30s era. This old horn's kind of junky, but I'll probably hang it on one of our wall hangers that we build. Some old 6-lug wheels. I always like finding old wheel rims that have been stored inside because they won't have surface rust at the beads, rust pits. Then I bought all the old 60s era magazines. Some really cool stuff in here. The graphic art on these is just awesome. Got the old GMC V6 undergoing testing. The old Corvair. So this booklet is all the old fonts from 1960. So pretty neat. Mad Men era. Imagine this at Don Draper's desk. Old newspaper from 1948. This one in the back has got some cool old advertisements from the rodeo. And the old Chevy Aero sedan. Auto repair on credit. Really cool old ads in there. Some Hemmings Motor News. These early ones are from 1968. Love looking through these old things. Find 20s and 30s cars for $500, $1,000. Fully restored cars, $3,000. Really cool to look through and see what the roots of the car collecting hobby were, where we started out at. Old car price guide. So I've been using a lot of online sources for pricing. There's a site called Bring a Trailer where people list cars. They have them broken down by categories, and they're really good about archiving all of the sold prices. So like the Mustangs on the auction, I was able to just go to that category and look up Mustang, see where they're selling at. But it's always nice to have paper, take a look. Another site that I really like is called classic.com, and they've got a lot of different categories where they break down car prices, motorcycle prices, and you can see what things have been selling for to get a gauge on what vehicles are worth. Got this Ford Century book. This is a really, really good book. They did a lot of exhaustive research putting this together. There's tons of pictures, tons of obscure pictures, like actually in the plants, from the design and development stages of these cars, more of the historical artifacts of the eras that they were built in. And I was looking on eBay, you can get a copy of this book for like $5 shipped. So if you're a Ford guy and you don't have this book, you need this book. Even if you're not a Ford guy, really cool book to look through and just get a little more understanding and background of the history of Ford Motor Company. Then Automobile Quarterly. There's some cool old paintings in here, like this one. Look at that thing. Super neat painting. Then the very best piece I got on the whole auction, this is the Continental Story, and this is a book put out when they developed the 1956 Lincoln Continental. This was a really revolutionary car at the time, so that's the roots that it had in the 40s car. The time in 56, most of your cars that were sold new were in the 2000 range, and the Lincoln Continental from 56 holds the record as being the first $10,000 sticker price car ever marketed in America. So just a really unique low production, and that book is issued by Fomoco, so really cool companion piece if anybody had one of those old cars. Last piece, new old stock Chevy radio antenna. That'll be a good eBay piece. A lot of these parts books are now online on wikis, and so it's pretty easy just to put a part number into a Google search, and a lot of times you're able to get something that'll pull out of a wiki and identify those. Then, last but not least, I did get 70 of these old print trays. These are what they stored the linotype blocks in. And people that do arts and crafts kind of look for these. These are just open on the top. They don't have the dividers. But I'm going to hopefully be able to get rid of these at the flea market and find some people that'll be wanting them to do craft repurpose projects, whatever they do with them. In my opinion, every one of these cars sold under market. The 1940 Chevrolet Coupe was a very solid car, the accessory grill guard, complete car, yet still needed everything, wiring, upholstery, mechanical work, to bring it back to operable condition. Even if you didn't touch the body and paint, the rest of the car would have required a complete restoration and, as these next cars demonstrate, it's just cheaper to buy one done. The restoration on the Model A Coupe still looked amazing for pushing 5.5 decades old. It stands as a testament to the quality of work that was done to this car. The man who restored it was the man who bought it at the sale, and he clearly recognized the value of what was here. To bring a car in the condition of the Chevrolet up to the condition of the Model A, with professional labor, would require tens upon tens of thousands of dollars. So, this car, selling for just over $8,000, was an amazing bargain. The Mustang Coupe was well bought, especially considering the local history this car had to Salina, Kansas. I think, with a few $100s invested in a buffing, this car probably could gain a few thousand in resale. Definitely well bought, under market. Same story with the convertible. Nice, well-presented car that sold under market. I think this one, on Bring a Trailer, probably could have brought over $20,000. So, definitely a great buy-in for the new purchaser of this car. The Lincoln Continental was a very well-preserved car, which I thought sold for about half of what it was probably worth. A person could have taken this to Hershey, put it in the car corral, and probably made a quick flip. Unfortunately, the locked V12 didn't do the car any favors, so it would require careful expertise of a well-acquainted professional to get it back going again. The Ford pickup attracted spirited bidding. This truck has what everyone's looking for right now. A good old solid truck, running, still in its patinaed work clothes. While not everyone would be impressed by the admittedly underpowered 4-cylinder drivetrain, you have to appreciate the rarity and originality of this truck and the uniqueness of the place in history that it holds. Plus, who wouldn't love to take this thing to a car show and explain to bewildered onlookers that yes, that Ford tractor engine actually does belong there, and it was the factory that put it there.
There you go. I'm selling 31.
So,
Oh, I don't want to mess around.